How's it going, guys? This is CatZ, and today we're gonna be doing a video of me winning against MaxPax, which I can't believe. It happened on Monday on the EPT Open Cup. It's a $400 tournament run on all three servers in North America, Korea, and Europe. I believe this iteration on Europe was actually won by MaxPax, and I got to play him in the quarterfinals for North America. Part of the reason why I was in the quarterfinals to begin with was because a lot of people were at Home Story Cup, right? So the competition was actually less stiff than normal, giving MaxPax lesser opponents like myself. And yeah, I mean, ping aside, he might have also underestimated me, and there's definitely some elements of luck that played into my one map victory. To be completely clear, I lost the series 2-1. So MaxPax obviously won, but just taking the one game for me at this stage is just amazing. I feel like I played well beyond my normal capacities. I tried to be as focused as possible. I turned off my music, and I played as fast as I could and as well as I could. So I feel like I did well. If you guys enjoyed this video, perhaps let me know in the comments, and we can look into posting the full series, perhaps from my perspective in first-person view. This will be a replay analysis because I think it's very interesting, and just also straight up to stroke my ego and, you know, clickbait some people into into clicking the video. But I do think it's a worthwhile watch. So let's check it out. So yeah, I'm gonna be spawning in the top left-hand side. As you can see, I'm setting camera hotkeys and whatnot. I'll just put it on everyone's vision. So first thing to note is MaxPax does a much quicker probe block than normal. You can see the distance between his probes is rather large by the time he drops the pylon, right? Like, he takes out one of the very first probes. That is because on the first map, which he already won, I went for a 15 hatchery after Overlord. So I went for Overlord at 14 and hatchery at 15. And that meant that I got my hatchery off and his probe arrived very late, which is really favorable for Zerg in my opinion, because then the Protoss went for the early scout and didn't accomplish anything. Zerg still floats one larva, so it isn't completely ideal, but it is certainly better than the usual situation, which is they block and you have to take your drone over to a different expansion. This time around, what I opted to do when blocked, because I wasn't expecting it, was just to drop a gas and a pull as quick as I could. And really the idea behind that was, I'm not gonna do what I usually do, which is just play kind of normal, take the other expansion and play sort of, if not from behind, from an uncomfortable position that I feel like MaxPax has rehearsed thousands of times. So what I decided was, let's make the game as weird as possible to try to see if we can force out some mistakes, because that's really the only chance that I have to win. If I just emulate what everyone else does at this stage, he is just, you know, that much better of a player. He is that much more advanced in his processes, and I'm gonna stand no chance. So let's see what are the mistakes that end up happening here that allow us to you know, take this victory. As yeah, I guess that's already spoiled. And yeah, he's gonna be chrono boosting a couple of zealots. Notice he doesn't pull probes, and instead he goes for the extra gateway and chrono boost out zealots. So his assessment here is that he can clear the hatchery, kind of like with just the units, and he can. The problem with his assessment really is, in my opinion, and also talking to my friend Filichenko, is that he scouted my gas, so he knows my gas is super early, and he knows I should have access to speed extremely early with a probe. And that means if I have access to speed, making these units is not as good, right? You kind of have to make them because you opted not to pull probes. If you pull probes, your income is lower, but you get to drop the Nexus faster. And that means you don't have to commit and you don't have to get value out of your move out, as he probably feels like he has to now. So he is going to be dropping his expansion. I have already dropped my expansion. He is still ahead, mind you, but the one advantage that we do have is that link speed coming up, and the fact that we are yeah, kind of anticipating this move out, because we know that, you know, we have an Overlord, we know that he was making 2 zealots, they were attacking the hatchery, and we know 2 extra units after the completion of the cyber core extremely likely to be adepts. When you have those units, you kind of have to move out as Protoss, pretty much guaranteed, because you know, like, if you don't move out, then you just made units that you wouldn't have liked to make otherwise, and the Zerg opponent could just make drones instead of making all of the Zerglings that I kind of have to make. So notice I'm hiding some of the Zerglings from the Adept Shades as to not raise any flags for him. So he just knows about the 4 standard kind of circlings that most people would make at the start. And when my speed is almost ready, as you see it in production, I start moving out. I also have a couple of links rallied back to my main, so that, you know, like the adepts shades are gonna get caught. And that ends up being pretty good for me. Like, I know that those links are about to spawn. Could have actually rallied them better, but it works out. Overlord is gonna fall. That's bad. And even now, even though that was a good trade for us, we're not in a fantastic position. Now, this is nice for us because we go for a counter-attack that, with all the links that we had already pre-made, and kind of force additional defenses here. Now we're gonna go out of vision, threatening something like a potential Baneling bust. And as long as he doesn't know exactly what's going on, especially going up against an opponent that he, in his mind, probably shouldn't lose to, he is likely to overreact a little bit. Ends up canceling the shield battery, knowing that he has a Stalker on the wall already. So that is really smart from him to kind of rally the Stalker to the other side of this pylon, because otherwise the pylon gets Baneling busted by just the 5 Banelings, whereas the Stalker can tank a lot more, and then the pylon would tank extra. So he is pretty safe against everything that I could be doing aggressively right now. But I am just going to transition into making drones at this point. I am going to get +1 milli, I believe, and try to catch up on that regard. We're still 27 workers to 34, so it's not ideal, but we have real estate and map control, so the situation is not untenable in my opinion. What he is going to do, knowing that he has to concede map control at this point, is go for a 2-base all-in. He's excellent at this. He's gonna go for the glaives adepts, and yeah, I mean, he's gonna try to kill me with that. And to be honest, looking at the game state even right now, it doesn't seem unlikely that he would be able to kill me, right? It is fairly even on supply. 35 workers to 36, I think, is pretty reasonable. Like, I don't think by any means I am out of this game, but he definitely still has very much chances, despite a couple of potential mistakes, right? Mistake number 1, maybe not pulling the probes from him, not reacting maybe the best that he could have, and then moving out against the link speed. That offered me a way into the game. I've also made a couple of mistakes, especially with these overlords. Lost a couple of those, and obviously, like, I'm not the cleanest player or the best player in the world, like he kind of almost has claimed to us as far as the Protoss race is concerned, at least. Now I have a lot of links. I'm gonna get a nice adepts around here, right on the offset of creep, right on the outskirts of creep, and I'm gonna pull all of my queens. So I'm gonna start already focusing the Warp Prism if I can. Warp Prism goes to the corner to warp in, but not super far. The queens get on top of it, which is super nice, and with the links giving chase, the Warp Prism takes a little bit too much damage. Now the queens off of creep are being chased, and he actually moves his Warp Prism forward a little bit, which makes me think that I can snipe it. So instead of continuing to run back to creep, I am paying attention. Luckily for me, I turn around and I will focus fire the Warp Prism. So given the level of commitment now, this is massive for me. That queen could have been transfused, I believe. So another mistake. So that is a massive blunder from him, losing the Warp Prism, and it's kind of what allows me to get into a good position in this game, right? So it's a very committed attack from him. He went up to what, 6 gateways off of 2 base and glaives robo, and now he has to remake the Warp Prism. He has to potentially float a little bit of money, warp in at home, which he does, and now he reinforces. But right before his reinforcements arrive, we also catch a lot of those adepts, so things are looking really good. I did really good on my multitasking as well to pull drones to prevent extra damage. Only 3 have fallen from double procted adept harassment, which is difficult to keep up even as I am observing. I'm gonna try to go for a little bit of a link counter attack / run by, like see if he has a third, see if I need to worry about follow-up attacks. And I also am gonna be pretty alert, I think, for this Warp Prism with the queens, rallying some links as well into the main, and again doing a decent job of evacuating the third. I don't think I lost the drone there, so I really am proud of my crisis management and in this game in particular. Now he's gonna be going into a robotics bay. Most likely, usually it's gonna be for disruptors. Colossus, I guess, could be an option, but very unlikely given that he's already forcing roaches, and he at this point didn't know about my lair either. So roaches without speed are kind of like the easiest target possible for disruptors. And yeah, I mean, the game is you know, at least as far as supply is concerned, fairly even. From here, he's going to try to take a third and try to stabilize. And from here on out, I feel like if I scout this, which I will, I see the Stalker, I pick up a Stalker, lose a couple of links, and see the intent for a third. I believe I saw the probe even. So so from here on out, I'm just going to decide, especially because it's MaxPax, right? Like, let's not try to play a longer game against them. I have an edge, I feel like. So if I just go Ling, Roach, Ravager, I should stand a good shot, in particular against this map on this third, which is super wide open, to try and bust and try to kill him, right? So it is not unfortunate by any means that he is moving out again, because we are making a bunch of units, right? So so we should be plenty safe. I think I could have maybe sectioned off a few more Roach Ravager over there and just chased with Lynx and a smaller clump of my army, but again, not the cleanest player in the world, there's no doubt about that. And now disruptors are starting to pop up. So given what I have and given his scouting information, this is kind of like the third kind of crucial mistake that allows me to win this game on his side of things, which is, I think, to move out with the Warp Prism and the Disruptors. If he has the Warp Prism and the Disruptors, I think he can hold this attack, no problem. But as it stands, my roaches tend to avoid the Warp Prism kind of just luckily, and the Warp Prism goes for economic damage with the Disruptors. The Queens also do a good job here of zoning it out, and still he doesn't go back, probably because he doesn't know where the roaches are, right? So he feels like he's on a roach hunt, and upon not finding roaches, just goes for the mineral line. But I already made it to the other side of the map. The links are going to be slower to reinforce. They were staying back in case they needed to kill whatever warps in. And now I have an excellent position here, because I have all my Roach Ravager here. My links are the fastest unit in the game, so they're gonna arrive to reinforce fast. And this third is pretty much 100% dead, just because the Warp Prism and the Disruptors aren't here. I mean, there could have been more shield batteries, you could argue, and maybe like some sort of recall, but it's even gonna fly over the Queens in desperation, and it will just not come into play. It'll end up being taken down. So this is just excellent for me. With the Warp Prism here, there is still a shot that I can win if I have very good splits, and if he doesn't connect too well with the Warp Prism, at least I could probably take the third and play a longer game from an advantageous position. But as it stands, I mean, we're just gonna be able to close the game here. I think we land some very good vials on retreat there for the probes. Boop, boop, boop. So that's like 7 probes that we killed with those vials. And now, yeah, I mean, he is in dire straits. He's gonna use the battery overcharge. We're gonna try to gun it down, but we don't have enough Ravagers to actually gun it down. We're short 1 or 2. And now he shades on forward onto my Ravagers, which isn't the worst idea if the rest of the links are not arriving. I'm trying to also bile on top of the potential shades, but it's not gonna pan out, I don't think. Or maybe it hits like 1 adept. Nope, hits my Roach. Now, as the links arrive, this becomes a good fight for me. More links are arriving, so he's forced to disengage, and now we just get us around here and should be able to bile this and end the game easily. So he taps out, and that is, with a little bit or a lot of luck, how we managed to take a game off of yeah, the best Protoss player in the world. So pretty proud about that. I feel like even though a lot of mistakes were made on either side, especially on his side of things to allow for me to win a game, I'm proud of my decision making as far as just making the game weird, and generally I'm proud of how well I played and spent my money, and just mechanically speaking, I played far above my level. So if you'd like again to see the video of the first person view of this particular game or the entire series, then let me know. Game 3, I feel like I also made him sweat a little bit, but not yeah, obviously not. It wasn't this game, which is just absolutely awesome. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to catch you next time.